I was born in Karachi, Pakistan, but I moved to the U.S. when I was 3 years old. So I grew up in the U.S.
Right.
and background as a school teacher, school principal. Then I got into leadership training by way of a mentor by the name of John Maxwell. Kind of brought me into the leadership world. So I launched my own company for leadership development, training, coaching, speaking in the U.S. and simultaneously in Colombia at the same time.
Okay.
So I've been living in Colombia for about 10 years now, 11 years, around there. So I kind of go back and forth between the U.S. and Colombia.
Okay. Why Colombia? What was the connection with Colombia?
Everyone asks that question. So I'm an avid traveler.
Right.
Been to, this is now my 58th country in Malaysia. Alhamdulillah, I'm trying to get to 100. And I went to Colombia just to backpack, just to get to know another country. And I just found a paradise, a little piece of paradise. Such a beautiful place, green mountains as far as you can see, perfect weather. The people are so kind, so polite, and so well-mannered, well-spoken. It's like they have the akhlaq of Muslims, but they're not Muslims.
Yeah.
And so I just fell in love with the place, I wanted to establish a base there.
Okay, mashallah. In terms of Islam in Colombia, what does that look like?
It's still in the very early stages.
Right.
There have been Muslims there for a couple of generations, from Lebanon and Palestine mainly, but they're mainly business people, so they came maybe a generation or two ago, and unfortunately a lot of their kids have kind of blended in, right? So there wasn't, I think, a lot of dawah work done in that first couple of generations. They have established a few, 2 to 3 to 4 masajid in every major city. So there is a presence, but it's a very small presence comparatively speaking.
Right.
So probably about 100,000 Muslims within a population of 50 million.
Okay, all right. In terms of how you would compare, say, the Muslim population and the culture in Colombia, how would you compare that to the US, for example? Now, in Ireland also, we have quite a small Muslim community. It's proportionally larger than Colombia, but I just want to see if there's some lessons that we can take from the situation there, and what issues you might have in the US that you don't have perhaps yet in Colombia, and what lessons we can take from that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very big question. There's a lot of detail to say about that. One thing to start off with is the Colombia Muslim community reminds me of when I first arrived in Houston, Texas, which was in the early 80s, 1980s. That's how the Muslim community is in Colombia.
Right.
So it's very small, relatively speaking. So there's a long way to go, essentially, in establishing the community. There are masajid, there is some dawah work going on, but all the ancillary stuff that is very common for Muslims in the U.S.
Right.
So now we have things like Qalam and Valley Ranch and all these big blossoming communities with businesses, with money, with support, with programming, with halal meat, and all the Muslim infrastructure. They're barely scratching the surface. So that's like the main difference, is just a timeline of growth.
Right.
Now, in terms of the differences, the nuances within the communities, Colombia is actually wide open for Islam. They have a very strong belief in God in their culture.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I found it so beautiful when I first went there. When you ask people, how are you, ¿cómo estás? They say, bien, gracias a Dios, which means, I'm good, alhamdulillah. Like in their language, without being Muslim. Right? Or when they'll talk about doing a project or something, getting something done, they'll say, I'll lo voy a hacer, right? I'm forgetting the phrase, but con el favor de Dios, like with the support of God, right? Okay. So even in their language, they're connected to God. So in that sense, it's a little bit different than the population in the U.S., where there's a large amount of atheism, there's a large amount of non-religiosity. In Colombia, most people have a connection with Allah. What they're missing is knowing the Prophet ﷺ.
Right.
And that's what I talked about in my talk a couple days ago. And that to me is very heartbreaking because without knowing the Prophet ﷺ, you don't really know how to live the day to day, right? You don't know how to manifest Allah's will on this earth, right? So that's a huge difference. Another big difference is you don't have the anti-Islam feeling there. They're open to it.
Right.
So if they see a muhajjaba, they won't, like in America, they might think, there's tons of images that roll in their heads. The average American, if a white American or general American, non-Muslim American sees a muhajjaba, they have years of programming that kick in. So they automatically see her in a certain light. That doesn't exist in Colombia.
Right.
In Colombia, they're like, why is she wearing that? Like, that's interesting. She's covering herself when our culture says, show us as much as you can, you know what I'm saying? So it's the exact opposite. So they actually have a lot of respect.
Right.
I say, wow, why is she's so pretty, why is she covering? Like, that's the sentiment in Colombia. So they're open. They're very open to the idea of Islam versus the US. They have a lot of reprogramming that you have to do, deprogramming.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Even that's still quite different to Ireland in that sense. In that sense, I'd say Ireland is more similar to the US to some extent compared to Colombia in terms of the atheism and in terms of some of that. A very small amount of the anti-Islam sentiment. It's Ireland, I would say. I haven't been to Colombia, but I would say in Europe, it's probably one of the best examples of live and let live. In Ireland, it's very.
It's like that in Colombia.
Yeah, it's up to you. As long as you're not causing hassle, you're not causing issues. Do your thing.
They say cada quien en lo suyo, like every one of you in your thing.
Oh, right.
Literally.
Yeah. So I think in that sense we're quite similar to Colombia, but that's a real opportunity we have then in Colombia in terms of the connection with God and the not having that judgment in terms of that culture.
Yeah.
So
it's a huge. I tell everyone, and we did a program years ago with Islam in Spanish in Houston called with Mujahid and the brothers there. MashaAllah, Allah bless them in their work. We did a program called The Final Frontier. Because Latin America is literally, in terms of dawah, if you want a high ROI on dawah, go do dawah in Latin America, because that's the final frontier. If there is a concerted, organized, financially backed effort, long-term effort, most of most of Latin America can become Muslim, and that's actually the dream of Muhammad Idrisi from Sevilla, from Spain, from Seville. He has an institute, Al-Andalus, that he created to train Muslim leaders who have a good depth of knowledge of Islam but also know how to lead in Seville. And that's his dream, is that in 50 years the majority of Latin America can be Muslim. So that, there's a ton of potential there.